Today I want to teach you another strategy, one that helps people write powerful stories. It usually works to jot moments that have been turning points in your life. These might be the first times or the last times, or they may be times when you've realized something important. Then take one of those moments and write a whole story, fast and furious. So let me show you how I use these strategies, thinking of the first times I did something, the last times I did something, or a time I realized something. Pay careful attention because you're going to get a chance to try this work in just a minute. So let's look at my turning point organizer. In your OneNote Writer's Notebooks, you'll see a Unit 1. This is my notebook. Remember, we created the cover page here with some of our favorite things. Mine looks a little different because I teach both 4th and 5th grade. You guys know that. But in your Unit 1 folder is a My Turning Point Organizer. So as I worked, I like to do this part quickly. The important work is not the listing, but choosing one of these times to write a story. So look at really quickly how I start thinking of these points. Don't get stuck on that. These are going to give you your inspiration to create great stories. So the first time I held my son Ben in my arms. That's going to be one. How about the last time I was able to teach my students in our classroom? And then this is that realization. The time I was acting terrible and my mom gave me a big hug. This is important right here. I realized she would always be there for me. Mr. Hoffman's having a little trouble typing this morning. And I just wanted to show you right here how you can use spell check by right-clicking to correct that. See how I got a bunch of ideas of first times right here that could make great stories? And I can go through that same process to think of story ideas if I push myself to think of the last times or the times I realized something. In order to come up with a last time I did something, for example, I go through the same steps and I end up remembering the last time I saw you all in my classroom, which isn't the most happy feeling to have, but it can create a very intriguing story for your readers. So writers, I want you to recall something that you may have done that caused you to realize something important and put it in that time I section right there. So once you have your turning points, you're going to pick one of these to start drafting a small personal narrative. When I want to pick a topic for a personal narrative that will make a really good story, one that will shape up to be a story that has a beginning, middle, and an end, one that matters. Remember, we're writing to make it interesting. Take the time to write a story that matters, that people will want to read, that draws your reader into it. It often helps to think of those turning points and then brainstorm them and then begin to create your ideas. So I'm going to go with the time I held my son Ben in my arms. So looking at your organizer, if you click right underneath it, you can start. Make sure you put your title. So I'm going to put the moment I realized how important it is to be a dad. Now, I know that you may not be experiencing that, obviously, yet, but that might be something that you realized really important, like the importance of having a growth mindset when you tried to do something and it was really, really hard and you did it and you felt great. So that was my title there. And now I'll start beginning to draft my narrative. So it is a personal narrative. Remember, this is going to be a story about your life. It's not fictional. So the day was February 8th, 2017. I was at the hospital with my wife, Sam, my beautiful baby boy, Benny, was born. The nurse placed him in my arms. His eyes were barely open. I immediately fell in love. I realized from that day I would always love Ben. And I can obviously add on to the story as we begin drafting. But do you see how I took that first time turning point in my life and was able to start shaping a story? As I continue to draft this, what I would think of what does it look like from my viewpoint, my perspective, being in that situation? What would you see as me, Mr. Hoffman, when I'm holding Ben? What did I feel? That'll give you an amazingly intriguing story. Thank you, writers.